Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Sunday, and it's about noon right now. Today, I will be doing more base plates. Now, I have all my base plates, my main base plates. These are my 12 or my 11 by 11 inch base plates, and these 11 by 11 inch base plates need to be cleaned. Need to be the edges need to be straightened out, of course. So a lot of grinding work that's going to happen here, and then after that, I'm going to be welding anchors to these because I'm doing my anchors a little differently. I'm not doing your standard bolts. Talk about more, you'll see why later, but basically, since I'm a one-man show, I'm going to be tilting these columns up. I'm going to be using just some basic engineering and winches and things like that to prop these up instead of trying to set them down, which is usually the way you do it with these types of anchors, because these columns are heavy, so they're not a one-man job. And if I'm going to try to make this a one-man job, or like need people as little as possible, because I live out in the middle of nowhere, what I try to do here is figure out some engineering that will work for this project. And with this, of course, you got to have anchors. You can't do without that. But what I will do, though, which has been done many times before, I'm not the first person that's thought of this, is I will basically just have anchors welded to the backs of these, and I'll have a nice little frame around it so the anchors are solid. You're not moving them. And then these will just sit straight into the ground, so these plates will be exposed plates on top of the concrete. And then what will happen is I have additional plates that are being welded to the bottom of these smaller plates, and then I'll be able to simply stand these up, and then I can scoot them around on these plates where I need them and just weld them in place. So that is, for me, going to work better. Is it an extra step or two? Absolutely. Is it taking me more time than the bolt system? Absolutely. So what I'll do on a fabrication job, something like this, is I got to sit and play through it in my head, at least a half dozen times. And then by then you start going, okay, well, this will work except for when you get to this point. And then at this point, this is going to fail. Or you're going to have a really hard time raising these things up. Or this might happen or whatever. So with this is the simplest way for me to do it, even with these extra steps, to where it gives me a margin of error, and that's important too. So it's not just about making it easier for me to set these up. It also makes it to where I can have a margin of error now that I can slide these on these plates and I can move them around to keep them lined up with each other without having to deal with the bolt system, because with the bolts, you don't really have hardly any margin of error there. And when you're hand cutting these base plates and not using a CNC machine to do it and making sure everything's exact, every little measurement that's off will accumulate when you go to set something up, and then everything's way off. So, and then just trust me on this, that's the way it works. And so what ends up happening is that you got to come up with a system that can still play within those parameters, but you can adjust things to make it still be as close to exact as you need it, right? So at the end result is I'm going to have my stuff up exactly where I want it, and that's the main thing. Okay, it will take me a couple extra steps here, cutting extra base plates for one, also, and that's more material. However, I will save on anchors, because the steel I can actually buy it by the 20-foot sections, so I can actually save money on those. So it ends up being a wash, honestly. So there's that, and then there's also the amount of time I got to spend on the fabrication side of things. So it might save me some time, or it might cost me extra time, but let me tell you this. The cost of man hours and the cost of the machines that I would have to rent to bring these, to make this easy, I could probably use my tractor, but I'm going to need another person. If I ain't got nobody around, nobody does anything for free out here, I can tell you that. So in order to do that, I'd have to pay somebody, and I got to pay them. I've done the math on it. I was like, nah, I'll just do this, because I don't have to pay anybody or any machine. So, and I can do this pretty much on my own. So hopefully this will inspire people when they see this towards the end. Once I get there, they'll say, oh, cool, you can do this by yourself. So it's not easy, but it can be done. You guys see all these clouds? It's probably gonna rain soon. So beautiful though, isn't it? So another day down. We're cruising along now finally. Now that we got a plan in place, things are kind of moving fast. It's getting like darker now, so I always talk lower when it gets darker for some reason. I don't know if does everybody else do that, but there's nobody around here. You know, I could talk as loud as I wanted to, but so here we are, folks. Day number 3 in the books.